everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and you are on Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys so much for your patience, for not coming on live on Sunday. As you guys know, I was busy doing other event coordination, so I thank you guys so much for being patient with me, and thank you guys for being loyal, being here on this channel with me. So, and to those of you that are new subscribers, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for trusting in what I have to say. And so today I wanted to answer a question that keeps getting asked in my personal email. And the question is, should I tell, is it wise, or should I tell the narcissist that they are a narcissist? So whether you're still in the marriage, whether you're still in the relationship, whether you're still living with the individual, should I tell the narcissist whether that they are a narcissist? Even in the midst of anger, to throw out or hurl the assault, you have narcissism, you're a narcissist, and everybody knows. So those of you that know my sense of humor, I'm going to start off with questions to the answer. It's going to be the pre-questions to the answer I'm about to give you. Everybody take a pause. Let me ask you this question. Would you go hug a lion on a safari, a wild lion on a safari? Would you jump into a lake of piranhas with a ham sandwich and kiss a piranha on the lips? Would you jump out of an airplane without a parachute and skydive? Would you touch a hot stove knowing that it's hot, having all your sensations, and just put your hand on the stove? Now that we've all answered that question, why in the world would you tell a narcissist that they are a narcissist? Let me tell you what an instructor told me one time when I was in my master's degree, when we were doing assessments and diagnosis, where we were actually learning the diagnosis in the DSM. And what she said is be careful when you're in this class, because when you look through the DSM, 9 times out of 10, you can find all sorts of symptomology that fit you. And if you're not careful, you'll diagnose yourself with everything that's in the manual. You'll come out with every diagnosis that you will possibly find in the manual, and you'll think that you're crazy, period. Then you'll start diagnosing your family, and some people diagnose wrong. That's why they have an internship and a practicum where we actually get to work hand to hand, one-on-one with individuals, and depending on what type of work you're doing, like marriage and family therapy, a lot of times you do see some severe mental health disorders, but a lot of times you really don't, because you're dealing more with like families and couples and marriages and things like that, or people that have disabilities and you're working with them. So a lot of times it's not that you don't, but a lot of times you really don't see the in-depth view of mental health disorders and personality disorders. However, when you are a mental health practitioner, so there's the licensed mental health counselors, and they have the mental health counselors. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I licensed licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm actually trained, and my education is marriage and family therapy. However, I trained under, I did do training with marriage and family therapy, then I switched over and I did my training for licensing under a mental health care facility where they had more of the severe mental health disorders. And therefore you have an internship and a practicum in school where you get a chance to do one-on-one, where you're learning different techniques, you're learning things, and then before you're licensed, in certain states require certain hours. Here in the state of Washington, I think it was 3,000 hours for us, supervised work, working with individuals with counseling. And then prior to my license, as I was studying, I worked with more severe mental health disorders. So you see schizoaffective, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, bipolar disorders, and I worked under a psychiatrist, almost a narcissist, psychiatrist, but that psychiatrist, who is a medical doctor that prescribes medication but studies the brain and the disorders of the brain dysfunction, is the one that would teach me how to differentiate between different mental health disorders and personality disorders, whether people are taking their medication. And so I'm saying all that to say this. One thing that you have to understand with a narcissist is not able to look within themselves. And so even in the midst of, and even the examples I just gave, hugging a lion, jumping, you're putting yourself in a position where you want to fight. You're putting yourself where you're actually drawing the line, say cross over the line. You know they don't have boundaries. You cross over, okay, I bet you won't cross this line. They're going to cross the line. You are purposely, if you are telling a narcissist that they're a narcissist, 9 times you're not telling them, number one, out of a place of wanting them to get help. You're telling them because you're mad and frustrated. Now, those of you that have discovered that they're a narcissist, in your heart, you're hoping that they will change, and you tell them you have the symptoms of narcissism. You are a narcissist, And the thing that they do out of thinking that you're helping them, you're not helping them, you're infuriating them, because you're telling them they're nothing less than perfect. They're not perfect at all. They have a problem, they have a disorder, and you're telling in hopes that they will say, oh, you're right, I have narcissistic personality disorder, I need help. Let me go and research to find out how I can change myself. And though we are laughing at that statement, some of you actually believe that. And they're not going to have an aha moment. They don't care. And remember, we talked about spectrum. Spectrum meaning the lower end of narcissism to a higher end of narcissism, which is called the greater narcissist. And the greater narcissist, oftentimes, even in between that spectrum, have other mental health disorders, such as personality disorders, such as antisocial personality disorders, such as, and remember, the psychopath, sociopath. So there is an additional diagnosis with them that makes them even more dangerous. And see, the thing about it is being with a narcissist, you really do not understand, some of you, not all of you, some of you do not understand how serious this mental health problem is, this personality disorders is. If you think about it, think about a sociopath or a psychopath that's in prison for sexual pedophilia, sexual relationship with children, or murdering people, would you, as soon as they come out, do you assume that they're rehabilitated? Will you just allow them to babysit your kids? Well, if you say no to that question, hopefully you said no to that question, but on that same spectrum, you have narcissistic personality disorder. They're on the same spectrum as they are, including borderline personality disorder, but these are the more severe mental health or personality disorders. And so you have to understand just how serious narcissism is. Some of you underestimate what a narcissist will and can do. You haven't seen a narcissist react or respond, usually react, until there's a serious narcissistic injury. Some of the narcissistic injuries are caused by you leaving, or you humiliating them, or you exposing them. And as I said in the video on Sunday, one of the ladies here shared, and she went back and corrected it in 77, I think it was, when she was 22 years old, when she left the narcissist, he shot or stabbed. I couldn't remember what you said, but shot or stabbed, but she is permanently disabled in a wheelchair. Another lady here shared on YouTube that her sister was with a narcissist and went to a surgeon, went to an appointment, came back, and the narcissist stabbed and killed her, murdered her. Now, a lot of you, and there's a video that I made, I can't recall the title, but where I talked about you've been desensitized by the type of trauma, the trauma bonding that you have been a part of. You've been traumatized to a point where you can't, it's almost like you can't regulate, to you, it doesn't seem as scary to anybody else when they make threats and certain things that they do, and when they lock you in a room, or when they beat you, rape you, and the things that they do. You've been desensitized where you don't realize that you are in harm's way. Your anxiety levels are high as it is, but it has become your norm. So you don't really understand just how dangerous these individuals can be. And for you to tell them that they're a narcissist, well, number one, everybody, I hate to say this, everyone has narcissistic traits. Everybody has narcissistic traits. And so when you look at the disorder, it has to be pathological. So it means it has to cause problems in their life and in the lives of other people, and connecting with people, and getting jobs and maintaining jobs. And it causes, within the legal system, they have serious problems. People that have narcissistic traits don't have super problems within in their environment, within society, that causes problems that you really need some type of mental health care. Teenagers, you see the teenagers have narcissistic traits. You think they're narcissists, and they're not. It's a part of their normal development. Some people, and long as you have been, and the longer you stay in a relationship with a narcissist, 38, 40 years, I think someone said, the more traits you pick up from the narcissist, which becomes your norm, because that's all you know and that's all you've seen. Though you may not like it, you unconsciously start acting like the narcissist. So people can assume that you're the narcissist. Well, if you're picking out traits and you're telling the narcissist that they're a narcissist, a lot of narcissists are on YouTube teaching you about narcissism. And you don't recognize them. You don't know that there's some of them is very obvious, as you know, but there are some that are teaching on narcissism, and they give you awesome information because they can relate. Are they going to ever take the responsibility of saying that this is me and that these are things I need to change about myself? I got excited about myself. No, they're not going to look within and look at themselves because they don't have a problem. You're the one with the problem. So you tell them that they're going to, when you start pointing out certain things about themselves, as you know, the circular conversations, they're going to turn it right back on you, and they can find all the traits that you're telling them about themselves on you, because 9 times out of 10, either you already have some traits, or you've been with them long enough where you picked up on their traits. You do some of the same things that they do, though you know that you're not a narcissist because you look within, and once you recognize, oh my gosh, my behavior is unacceptable, I don't want to be like that, and you start making an effort to change yourself and to better yourself, a narcissist can't do that, and they won't do that. So to tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist, you have literally just told them, I declare a war and I'm going to fight you. You got to remember that these individuals, when you're asleep, they're still thinking of how to get you back. Some of you, when I said that you need to be thankful that the narcissist discarded you and found, when I say good supply, that doesn't mean someone better than you. It means someone that is willing to give them that much fuel. These are when you say good supply to them is bad for us, but good supply to them means someone that is easily manipulated and they have a high pain tolerance. That's what the video was about, the high pain tolerance. They have a very high pain tolerance, and they are able to handle hard and large amounts of abuse, without collapsing and folding in. They're able to handle this abuse, and they take the abuse, but it's really destroying their mind. And so they're not the type, it's hard for them to leave the narcissist. It's hard for them to separate. You have gotten some strength. You have gotten some boldness, and you finally have discovered, I cannot do this anymore. I'm gone. That's your strength. Well, to them, that's scary. You've gotten too much knowledge about them. They need to find someone that is really ignorant and when I say ignorant, meaning lacking that knowledge, and is susceptible to that type of pain. They never healed from it. That's what they are accustomed to. And so a lot of you, that have been out of the relationship, that's what the no contact is, to build your strength, to build your character back up, to build, knowledge, to clear your mind. You're building your strength. And now, see, where you underestimate them is that once you've built your fuel back up, and once you feel good about yourself, you think you're smarter than the narcissist. Now I got my strength, I can fight you. Where do you think you came from? Why do you think that you had to build your strength back up? Because you may have been like that at one point in time until they got a hold of you. When they got a hold of you, that's when you finally left or they finally discarded you, you built yourself back up. You can't, that's just like a drug addict that is not truly all the way clear of being, clean and sober. You gotta wait. So some people like, I'm 2 months clean and sober. I'm 3 months clean and sober. Some of you guys have been in these relationships for years and years. That doesn't mean you're gonna be all clean and sober the first year. First few days, the first you feel strength and everything, but you get time and you build your strength. That doesn't mean you're gonna go poke the bear. Would you stand under a wasp nest in your underwear with a baseball bat, beating the nest, and it drops right in front of you, and then you don't go anywhere? Would you do that? Then why would you beat the narcissist by telling them that they're a narcissist? You have just declared war. And even when you are asleep and relaxed, don't ever underestimate them. They're always thinking on how to get you back. Now, some of you say, but he or she hasn't even hoovered me. You better be thankful, because they've connected with a source supply that's providing them with more fuel than you did. But once this new fuel, or after a while this fuel discards them, or they discard, sometimes they need to just touch bases to see if you're still available, and they'll hoover you. Remember, till death do you part. But there comes a time, now you are worried about it, but there's going to come a time where you have that much strength and you feel bold again and everything, that when they do hoover you, it's not going to bother you. It's not going to cause you to slip and fall. It's not going to cause you to cry and I miss him or her. You're going to get to a point where it's really not going to bother you. So it doesn't matter whether in their mind they think till death do us part, but once you recover and once you get your strength back up, That's all that matters. Because just because someone sees green hearts, yellow moons, and pink stars, and little green Martians and roaches crawling on the walls, and the floor opening up and people coming out and yelling, doesn't mean that that's your reality. That's their reality, and that is delusional. That's what's called delusional. That's also called hallucinations, but that's delusional thinking. And so they have delusional thinking. You don't. That's the way that they think. So some of you are afraid, like, oh my gosh, do they always think I belong to them? Oh my God, that's their delusional thinking, not your delusional thinking. Get the fear out of you and put the fear back where it belongs, on them. They're the ones that are afraid. Stop taking upon their emotions. Some of you empaths, you're taking upon their emotions. You're feeling them. You're afraid. You know, you feel them pulling on you by thinking about you. And some of you guys have been connected. Remember, if you connected with a person long enough, you can sense them. That's what you're working on, disconnecting that right there. But no, you do not tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist. Doesn't matter whether you think that, I'm going to hurt their feelings by telling them what they are, and that's you. That's not hurting their feelings. That's them. It's like the roadrunner, building their little momentum up to come after you. And don't think when you sleep and you're resting, they're thinking of how to get back at you. They're thinking about how to smear campaign you. They're thinking about how to use the information that they're hearing on the videos and what you've said, because they're studying it now. Some of them go on there and they support the narcissistic channels. They share the videos. They even put stuff on their Facebook pages, Instagrams, whatever else, Twitter, and they talk about, narcissism, and they encourage people to talk about it, and they're narcissists. They don't know. A lot of them don't know that they're narcissists. Sometimes, as they get to the greater ones, the ones that are very in tune, they understand what they are and they understand what they're doing. But when you're dealing with the lower to mid-grade, they don't know who they are. They like how it feels. They like what they're doing. They like the reactions that they get because it makes them feel empowered, but they don't know that they are narcissists, and they're not going to look within. They'll never accept that from you. And so you want to declare a war? Go ahead. Go ahead. Stick your head in a wasp nest. Go kiss a piranha on the lips. Jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Go ahead. No problem. Hug a lion in the wild while he's hungry and hunting. Just stop him from hunting and go hug him and kiss him on his, and ooh, pretty kitty. Go ahead. Now that may be funny, but that's exactly what you just did when you turned around and said, I'm going to tell him or tell her that she's a narcissist. Be prepared for World War III, and they don't rest. They're always studying, they're always hunting, they're always trying to figure out how to make you suffer. That's the perfect way to make you suffer. You have just declared war. Even me as a therapist know when I sit in counseling, once I pick it up and once I determine that's what it is, usually I refer out. It is my responsibility, my professional responsibility, my ethical responsibility to make sure that I provide them with resources, with people that can better handle. And I don't sit in there like, you're a narcissist. Nah, I'm not going to. No, I don't. I'm a professional. So how I am on camera is not how I sit in counseling. I am a professional, meaning that once I pick up, number one, once I pick up that I can't assist because that's not my area of assistance. That's not my zone to help someone. I always refer them out. A lot of the my clients that are in the LGBTQ community, because of the fact that I'm not versed on marriage and relationships, I always connect them with good resources, good nonprofit organization. I make sure that they're safe, but then you have those that are, coming in, they have problems just like anybody else, depression, anxiety, abuse, all that, so I differentiate the two. So I know what my limitations are and what my knowledge is. Likewise, when it comes to personality disorders, I do not treat personality disorders. A lot of people that treat personality disorders also deal with EMDR, DBT, the dialectical behavior therapy, which is a part of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. And so there are those that specialize in these particular, because these are long-term type therapy. So I know my limitation. But once I pick up and I realize what I'm dealing with, number one, I refer them to someone that can help. Likewise, in marriage and family therapy, when people come in for marriage counseling, once I pick up that there's domestic violence, or once I pick up that there is abuse going on, I do not counsel them as a couple anymore. I do not. I refer them out for couples counseling. If I see one, I don't see the other, and I don't see both. I don't do that. I used to do that as a young therapist. I do not do that because I try to stay mutual. So you have to know your limitations. So if I, as a therapist, know my limitation and what my passions are and what I'm good at what I'm doing, I even have sense enough not to tell somebody that they have narcissistic personality disorder. And the way that I provide them that information, I just tell them that the mental health situation, the issues that we're dealing with in here might benefit you more if you go to this type of, therapist. If I have to write notes, of course, I have to let the provider know information to tell them to look and check over. But if I don't do any tests and measurements, I just don't label somebody, with narcissistic personality disorder. I usually tell them to research further or analyze further, do more assessments to determine and rule out whether or not that's what it is. So that's I give them a red flag. Look for this right here and see if you see this. I know, but as a professional, it's not ethical for me to just say something and I did not do test. That's why I tell you guys, everybody that you say is a narcissist is not a narcissist. Some of them have traits, some of them have other disorders, and some of them are just no good. When I say no good, I mean they haven't grown up, they haven't learned how to be in a relationship, so that doesn't make them a narcissist. That makes them young and inexperienced and need some help and therapy. So hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully that answered your question. Go back to the beginning of the video. Would you? And then you'll understand the seriousness, how serious it is. And some of you guys haven't left. You don't know how seriously they can kill. Yes, the lower ones are known to have no self-control. They fly into rages. They're more overt a lot of times, and they don't have a problem with hurting or killing you. So I want you guys to be very careful and strategize in your exit. Have an exit strategy. Talk to a legal advocate. Find out what your rights are when you have children, when you have property, when you're living with someone. Don't just jump up and leave, because in certain states you can get, in trouble through the court system for abandonment or kidnapping your kids. And so connect with the domestic violence agencies, the YWCA. Connect with agency, domestic violence advocate, legal advocates to assist you and strategize in your escape route. When you're escaping, make sure that you have enough legal information and resources to help you out of your situation. Don't just jump up and go, because you got strength. No, you got to be wise. You have to make informed decisions. So hopefully this has helped you. Those of you that are new or have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I do have, make sure you hit the bell so you know whenever I upload Tuesday through Friday, unless I have events going on, and I come on live on Sundays between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is West Coast time in the U.S. I do have a Facebook page, 2 of them. One is my professional Facebook page, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and I have my book, which is my book.